So I'm here with Society Medal winner Jukka Takala. How are you today, Jukka?
Pretty good, thank you.
So we will switch a little bit to talk about your keynote, which was going with the blood flow. Can you give us some tips about assessing blood flow at the bedside?
Well, I think that the most important challenge is and remains the clinical assessment. And we have all these devices and sophisticated technologies which never replace the clinical assessment. And interestingly, in the recent, say, 3-4 years, more and more data actually point out that the clinical examination gives us perhaps the best indications on what's actually going on. So look at especially the peripheral circulation and you are in good hands.
What are the unanswered questions? What do we still need to learn in research in intensive care?
Well, I'm going to turn it around a little bit because there are, of course, many questions. And the first one is to know how to do studies. Because now we are just doing studies which seem to be destroying what we have learned in the last 50 years or so. All big randomized trials are negative, or most of them. So that's one thing. But I think the most important thing perhaps at the moment is to understand that differences in performance, in the ability to save lives in different units, the differences are much higher than any interventions have ever brought. So understanding better why some units save more lives than the others would be actually the biggest challenge.
Well, speaking of challenges, what do you think are the greatest challenges in terms of organization of intensive care units?
Well, I think at the moment everybody is under huge financial pressures, have to save money and so forth. But the problem is that I think there are two basic issues. One is the size of the units and how they are embedded in the hospital. We are talking about a horizontal process which tends to be split in many hospitals in vertical structures. So preserving or creating the horizontal process also in the care area means actually intensive care, intermediate care, putting them all to a process which makes the patient care path through the critical illness towards recovery is actually the big challenge at the moment.
Is this something you're putting into practice in your center?
Yes, we have integrated a fairly large intermediate care area in our ICU and also, of course, on top of that, outreach services and so. So we're trying to put together a path where the patient can be treated in the right place at the right time with the correct intensity and especially with the correct people, trained intensivists.